This new exhibition at the Mosman Art Gallery takes us on a journey of collecting textiles from a place many of us know, Bali.
A collector is interesting for so many reasons, but if I was to describe Dr. Yu, his interest in Indonesian art is so broad and he collects so widely. So in addition to collecting textiles, he also collects ceramics, other sort of jewelry, ceremonial objects.
Textiles are a guide to Indonesian culture. They are said to be Indonesia's most significant form of artistic expression in terms of everyday, ritual and ceremony.
Part of his interest in collecting so broadly is to then be able to map out his collection in terms of what overseas textile researchers are doing. So he has a very big collection of catalogues, and he has good relations with a lot of museum curators in Australia and overseas, and he understands how his textiles fit into particular areas of scholarly interest.
How did it all start? Arts Hub spoke with Dr. Yu about that very matter.
Well, what took me to Indonesia was a textile, because it all started off when I saw a blue and white textile in nomad galleries in downtown. I liked it and I bought it, and it was affordable, not knowing anything about it, certainly nothing about savu, where it was made, nor about the techniques, but it was something that really appealed to me. And so it was only after I'd been buying Indonesian textiles that friends of mine were saying to me, well, why don't you go to Source? Following that, George and I went to Bali and very quickly fell in love with both Bali and the Balinese.
It was a romance that lasted 30 plus years, and over 800 textiles later, some are now on show at the Mosman Art Gallery.
The batik with the cloud pattern, I would have about 5 or 6 with the same design and in red, different sorts of reds. And I like this one because it's not so. It was also the first batik that I bought as a piece. Most of us have worn batiks when we've been in Bali, in sarongs on the beach and things like that. And I didn't collect batiks early on, except things to wear. And you suddenly realise that what you're wearing is really very beautiful.
I mean, the textiles are quite interesting because they're the only aspect of his collection that really doesn't have a strong presence when you visit his house. Because they're all stored away. He'll say this to you himself, that he's interested in the textiles not purely from an anthropological perspective, but in how they work as visual art. In terms of assessing the collection, I mean, many of these textiles would be museum quality pieces, if you like. However, what I suppose I'd like to emphasize is that while most of the pieces would fit into a gallery, there are also some very newer pieces and some pieces that wouldn't traditionally come within the purview of textile collectors. And I suppose I'm thinking particularly about some of the Balinese lamak or shrine hangings, which probably not that old, maybe produced in the 1960s or 70s. The condition of some of them is not very good, but to Dr. Yu they were very interesting.
It's really very difficult to get out of your blood, the Balinese. their gentleness, their kindness, but their artistry. And most of them don't talk in terms of artists because they're all artists, they all do things. And that was wonderful, but I very quickly found out that Bali was the marketplace for Indonesian art.
Right.
And if I wanted something good of Indonesian art, it would find its way to Bali.
Gina Fairley reporting for Arts Hub.